So hello and welcome everyone. This is the English remote learning for Segundo Medio, week 3 of June. We are seeing one topic every 2 weeks, so this is the second topic of June, and we will start right now. It is always important to mention what we saw previously, and our last topic was the uses of reflexive pronouns, such as myself, yourself, himself, herself, etc. You see them there. They are very common, they are present in songs, and they make language really beautiful. Once you use them, they can be an ally whenever you want to communicate different ideas. So it can be used for independence or autonomy in certain actions, or to refer back to the subject of the sentence, like I was cooking in the kitchen and I cut myself, remembering one of those examples. So and you did quite well with this topic, so I'm sure that we can move on to the next one. So let's see. So the objective or aim for this week is to report events using reporting verbs, all right? This is the content, reporting verbs. So let's see. We have something in here that talks about the importance of these reporting verbs. So in conversations or in everyday speaking, communicational English, reporting is a really useful skill. So it helps us to communicate what happened or what other people said. So just like a journalist or a reporter, something happened and I will tell another person what happened, all right? We have our first example of reporting right here. So let's imagine this situation. We have Willie Rex and he says, "Do you want hot chocolate?" And that happens to us. And if we want to report this and tell this to another person, we go like this. So Willie Rex invited me to drink hot chocolate. That is the reported way of saying what happened, and it is way more fluent than saying the exact same words. Like, so Willie Rex said, "Do you want hot chocolate?" And that sounds like a very robotic, right? So this is why reporting is so important. You transmit the same information of what happened, not necessarily using the same words that the person said, all right? I must tell you now that the list of reporting verbs is huge. There are lots and lots of information on the internet. Okay, if you Google reporting verbs, you will see many of them, and some of these are really complicated to use. However, in this lesson, we're going to see only 2 groups of verbs, and there are more, of course, but we have a limited list, so we can start using some of these with a very simple structure, okay? So the first group is advised, encouraged, invited, warned, reminded, and the group 2, we have agreed, offered, decided, promised, refused, and threatened. You can see them in Spanish, okay? I put them in the past already because whenever you want to report something, it's about an action or something that somebody already said. So I put them in advance in the past. So I hope that you understand. So each group has a similar structure. So we're going to start with group 1. The first group of verbs will follow this structure. We're going to see and we're going to use the reporting verb plus the object plus the verb in infinitive. We don't have to forget that previously we have to include the subject, of course. So let's follow the order and create the reporting sentence of the example of Willie Rex. So the subject, Willie Rex, then the reporting verb invited. Who did he invite? He invited me. I am the object. So Willie Rex invited me. And then the verb in infinitive, to drink hot chocolate. Remembering that the infinitive verb is just to plus the verb, to drink. All right? Very simple. We are going to use only that structure to create these reporting sentences. All right? And now we will see one sentence as an example for each one of the verbs of each group. So in all these following examples, you will see an original dialogue or a sentence of what somebody said. so we can report that, all right? So in our first example of advice, there is a small dialogue. So me, first of all, I'm talking to one of my friends and I'm telling that person, I am not a good guitar player. My friend responds and says, I don't think you're bad, but if you want to be better, you should practice more. All that dialogue can be reported into this. My friend advised me to practice more. And you can see what it says in Spanish. So it's telling the same event, the same thing that happened, but not using exactly the same words that my friend used. It is quicker, it is very organized, and it sounds very fluent, all right? So let's go for the next one. Encourage. This is the situation. We have a bungee jump situation, and I said, I don't want to jump, I'm scared. And my friend said, oh, come on, do it. I know you're brave, you can do this, you can jump. And I finally jumped. So if I want to report this, it would go like this. So my friend encouraged me to jump. And then you see the translation of that, which is, again, the same information, but I'm reporting that. I'm not using the same words that my friend used. I'm just mentioning you what happened. And again, it uses fewer words, all right? For our next verb, invite, we want to give you a different situation. It's not going to be my friend and me, but we have two different people. We have Michelle and Gabriela, and Michelle said, would you like to watch a movie with me? And Gabriela responded, yeah, sure, all right? We can also report this event as follows. Michelle, invited, who? Gabriela, to what? To watch a movie. Again, we are reporting exactly what happened with different words. Now, for a more dangerous situation, we have warn, and the example goes as follows. So I told you, this dog is very aggressive. Don't pet him. You can report this situation as follows. Esteban warned me not to pet the dog. You can warn people to do something or not to do something. So in this case, I'm telling you, don't do it because it's dangerous. So you'd say, Esteban warned me not to pet the dog. And that is it, right? And then you have the translation in Spanish. Remind comes next, and the situation is the following. So I told you, don't forget to watch the videos, the English videos, right? So you can report this by saying, my teacher reminded me to watch the videos. Very simple. Again, you can see the translation in Spanish. Again, I'm telling you the same event, but with different words. That is reporting. So those were all the verbs from group 1, and we're going to see now group 2. These have a small change in the use that we're going to see right now in the structure. So group 2, we have agreed, offered, decided, promised, refused, and threatened. And it will go like the verb plus the verb in infinitive without the object. And don't forget to put the subject at the beginning. So that is the basic structure that we're going to see to report things with these verbs. So let's see the examples. Our first verb of group number 2 is agree. Let's see the situation. We have Emily and Matt. Emily said, I think we need to put our differences aside and work together. And Matt responded, I think the same. Let's work together. We can report this situation in the following way. They agreed to work together. Very simple. The information is reduced, but is the same at its core. Coming up next, we have offer. Let's see the situation. So me, the teacher, or any teacher that you have, said, do you want me to help you? And you can report this information by saying, my teacher offered to help me. And then you see the translation. Very simple, again, nothing complicated at all. Next, we have decide. Our example or our situation is the following. So we have mom and dad, and mom says, I think we should get a dog. Dad responded, it's a great idea. Let's adopt one. So the two of them decided to do something. We can report this information by doing so. My parents decided to adopt a dog, and that is the reporting sentence using decide. Our next verb is promise. Let's see the situation. So my students said, we will always work hard in English. It's a promise. So I can say, my students promised to work hard in English. And they always do. They're really good students. So you promise that and you do what you promise. So I think this is true. Now we have refuse. The example goes as follows. We have this girl, Mary. She doesn't like the food. So she says, I don't like this food. I'm not going to eat. So what happened? Well, Mary refused to eat. And that is it. Very simple again. Our last verb from group number 2 and for the day is threaten. We have this very common example that happened, long time ago, a couple of years ago. This guy would usually say things to the US, and in this case we have this quotation that says, I will attack the US with nuclear weapons. And we could see on the news something like Kim Jong-un threatened to attack the US. And now we're not just saying something that happened between friends, but now we're reporting world news. So this is very common for journalists to do. So you can see the versatility of this reporting verbs. And this situation is great, that you can use it in a formal context or in a normal conversation. So to conclude this video, I have 3 main points that I would like to share with you. One of them is that reporting verbs are useful in conversations. If you're talking to a friend and you want to tell that person what happened, well, reporting is the way to go. The second thing is that reporting makes your English more fluent. Since you are not using the exact same words that the person said, you are creating a new way of telling people what happened, and that makes you look more fluent. And finally, you can use your creativity to report things. So the examples that we saw are not the only correct way of reporting things. You can always add more information or leave some information out. It all depends on you, right? So that was all for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Be safe. You take care. Bye.